Welcome back. April 3rd, 2013. It's the date the Jimmy Patsos era at Siena began. In his first season, the passionate head coach of the men's basketball team engineered a 12-win improvement over the year before and guided the Saints to a CBI championship. Last season, the Saints lost momentum through a rash of injuries, but so far this year, it's steeped in optimism. Injured players like Emo Silas and Brett Bisping are back. Freshmen like Nico Clarith look good, and it all came together last night in an exhibition win on campus. And now with the exhibition game behind them, Siena can look forward to its season opener, which is 1 week from Friday at Duke. And to talk about that, the exhibition game, and whatever topics we can get to, head coach Jimmy Patsos, thanks for being here.
Hey, Kelly, thanks for having me.
And you're not alone, because for the first time in Edge history, we have a live studio audience. They're all Siena students, sports reporting students, in fact. So they're here today. Hi, guys. It's okay. You can talk. You can wave. And we'll go back to them later on in the interview, see if they've got any questions for Coach. So first of all, exhibition game last night. You get a victory over Indiana University of Pennsylvania. I'm sure at some point it'd be nice for you if Brett Bisping can get through a game without bleeding or dislocating something.
Yeah, I got 3 stitches, but for Brett, that's kind of how he goes. That means he's back. He's taking charges. He played well. Marquise played well. Marquise didn't shoot the ball well, but he played well, if that makes sense. And Nico Clarith came off the bench at 24 points, so it's really good to see a freshman play well. But we're going to get better as the year goes. I think we'll be a better team at the end of the year than we are now. But we have some live bodies and some healthy bodies, which we didn't have. So we're pretty excited.
I'm sure there was a buzz in the Arc about Nico and the 24 points he scored. What are expectations with your freshman class right now, Nico, and how they can contribute?
Yeah, you got to keep it in a framework of he had 24 points, but that was took a lot of shots, and but his energy is good. And Indiana University, Pennsylvania, really good Division II team. They went to the finals last year and lost to Florida Southern. So they're a really good team. It was a good test for us. But, you know, with Duke and Wisconsin and the MAC and Iona and the Albany team and Vermont, Hofstra, St. Bonaventure, you have to be ready every night at our level, and that's what I wanted our guys to learn last night.
And it starts with Duke, the defending national champions, a week from Friday. Realistically, what are your expectations when you go into that game? What do you tell your team? Do you tell them, hey, if we catch them on the right night, we can beat them?
No, you start with that. I mean, you want to win. You're competitors. We have a lot of guys that like to compete. On the other hand, it's great for Siena. ESPNU kind of picked us to play them. Then we go to Wisconsin. We're on ESPNU. They thought Siena would be a good matchup because we have a really good reputation.
Yep.
You use that to get better. We're taking boosters on the trip. I've been to Yankee Stadium. I've been to, Fog Allen Fieldhouse, Boston Garden, Fenway Park. Duke is as good a place to play in the country at any sports venue. So it's a great opportunity for our fans to see it, our players to play there. But you get to test yourself against the best. I'm glad they have 3 guys that are gone that went in the first round of the NBA. I don't want them there. But it'll be a good chance to get better. That's how you get better, is to play against really good teams.
You've got experienced players on your team, but how do you guard against the awe of walking into Cameron Indoor?
Until you see it, because I played there 13 times as the Maryland assistant, won four times, which is a lot. But when the fans are there and they're moving behind the seats, behind the baskets when you shoot free throws, right when you walk out, it's full and they yell at you and everything. It's kind of a unique thing, but you get used to it as a player. But it makes it tougher because they have like the best coach ever in college basketball, and they're really good players.
Siena basketball fans knew of Jimmy Patsos before you ended up here. You mentioned being an assistant at Maryland and a high-profile team, and of course many years at Loyola coaching in the MAC. Let's go back even before that. When did your love affair with basketball begin? Were you just a little kid?
Yeah, no, I mean, if I ever have to get angry, I just think of Magic Johnson hitting the hook shot against McHale Parrish in the Boston Garden. I was there. I was standing in the corner. You could stand. They had standing room only. Red Auerbach I knew Red Auerbach. I get to spend a lot of time with him. He lived in Washington in the off-season. I'm a diehard Celtics fan. When Larry Bird came in the Magic Johnson era, and it just really piqued my interest. And it's funny because Boston is a hockey town, so I couldn't wait to get out of there to go to college. I mean, I know Brittany's a big Boston University fan. I like BU hockey. But I then went to Washington, D.C. because that was the mecca for college basketball, high school basketball. Then I worked for Morgan Wooten at DeMatha. Then I was roommates with Mike Lonergan, the coach at GW. Brian Cashman was my roommate, the GM of the Yankees. John Becker, who's the head coach in Vermont. We were all from Catholic U. We got into coaching, and the rest went from there.
Before you got to Catholic U, at that point, you were focused obviously on playing. When did the first thought pop in your mind? Maybe when I'm done playing, I might want to be a coach.
I'll tell the students I failed accounting. And my coach said, so what do you think about being a history teacher and a high school coach? I said, sounds great. Can I own a bar too? He said, yes. So I used to work in a restaurant. I was a high school coach. I just wanted to be a high school coach and own a restaurant. And I did that. I worked where we filmed for older generations, St. Elmo's Fire. I worked at that restaurant.
Wow.
But I knew I wasn't going to make it in the, microeconomics, macro was one thing. When we got into statistics and accounting, and I moved, and I love history, so I wanted to be a high school teacher, and that's what I did.
And you majored in history.
I majored in history.
So it's always something that you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I like different, I'm a big reader. I love lots of shows, movies. We're going to the movies tonight, my wife and I. But yeah, and my coach was a history teacher, Jack Bruin. He ended up being the coach at Colgate University. I think you get influenced by your coaches. That's why sometimes people see me yell. I'm yelling less this year. But in other words, I really care about the players. I'm interested in what they do off the court. I'm interested in their lives and what they do in the summer. And I go to their weddings and I follow through being friends with them. But I want them to go. You got to chase your dreams. You got to be passionate. My brother owns a baseball team in Newport. My sister has an Emmy. She won an Emmy in Boston for producing a TV show. She's an editor of a magazine. We chase our dreams, and I just loved. Basketball was cool because no matter what was going on in your life, you could kind of focus on the court. And no offense to some other sports, practice in basketball is fun. In other words, in football, it's the quarterback and the running back. You're sort of doing your thing. Baseball, you can sit in the outfield for 3 hours.
Right.
Basketball, everybody gets to touch the ball. Everybody gets to play. I really like the camaraderie. And like I said, Mike Lonergan was my physical roommate. We stayed in the same room. He's the head coach at George Washington. We chased our dream and worked summer camps. And for some of you out there, Syracuse fans, the first guy I coached in high school was Lawrence Moten, who had a really good career at Syracuse. So then I started to meet college coaches, and then everybody wants to coach college because you don't have to teach classes. In other words, you're trying to now you're always looking at the next thing. I think a lot of college coaches think NBA is cool, but I'm really good with these kids, and I like a smaller liberal arts school. Small liberal arts school fits me. Great area here. I've gone to Corning Tower. We've gone to, all different things. Ulysses Grant, all this kind of different stuff. Me and my wife, we love Saratoga. There's lots to do. So I try and get the team to understand that. And this year we took them to Cooperstown and to Lake George.
And that's going to kind of work out perfect, dovetailing into our first question. And because you have an interest in teaching, even if you're not in the classroom, whether it's your players or anybody, I talked to a freshman class of intro to broadcast journalism students on campus earlier today and posed this challenge to them. All 25 students come up with a question, and they voted on what they thought the best question to ask you was. It came from Rachel Cooper, and she wanted to know, being able to work together is obviously important for a team. What's been the best bonding moment preseason for this club?
Great question, Rachel. Good job. I like that. It was going to Lake George. We went to Cooperstown, but we went to the other end of the lake because our gym was being redone. John Dargenio was fixing our whole building up. There's a big project, so we couldn't be on campus. I thought going up to Lake George. We went to Bolton Landing. We practiced outside. People were watching. Then we went down to the village and we saw the steamships, and I showed them the Sagamore. No, we didn't go there, but we went around it. In other words, the history of it. And Lake George, until you really see it, is how beautiful. The players really liked it. In other words, it was a good day, but we played basketball on the outdoor courts. And then, but you spent the day together there, and it was the first moment I said, this team's going to be tight. And I think we're going to hit some losses. It's not going to be easy the whole way, and Duke, Wisconsin's a daunting task, but we will get better as we go. And I thought it started there at Lake George.
Coaches always want to talk about preaching being a family, almost to the point where it's become a cliche. But has it been your experience that the tighter teams do perform better?
Sure, absolutely. Mike Krzyzewski always said that the job of a team is to get tighter as the year goes and to understand your roles. Grow this way instead of the other way. But, guys want to play, and it's tough because if someone doesn't play, they can go right to their phone, and somebody on their entourage side tells them, coach doesn't know what he's doing or whatever. I have to do what's good for Siena. But the Siena community is great. The fans, the fan base, the history of the program makes it seem a little extra special to be part of our family. I really mean that. Siena's a really great place to coach. It's got a real tradition.
Well, the Siena family includes the students who we have here in studio, so let's go over to those guys. And Matt, I believe you've got a question lined up for Coach.
Yeah, Coach. So you recruited Marquise and Levon here during your first year. They made the all-rookie team. As their tenure increases and as your tenure increases, do you have more faith in those guys, and do you really expect them to emerge as two of the best players in the conference this year?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Probably more Marquise than Levon. And don't get me wrong, Levon's a great player. Levon does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. And remember, to become all league, now when you're a freshman, when you're all rookie, you're only in the rookie category. Now you've jumped into the 4-year category to be all league. But I think Marquise has taken some nice steps to grow, and they have to sort of be a little more vocal leaders. That's one thing I want to see them do a little better. But that's a good question. Can they make the next jump? And, as you go up the mountain, it gets tougher to climb the higher you go up the mountain. I think Marquise is really going to have a good year. But like I said, Levon's one of those guys, and don't count out Javion Oganyemi. Thank God he's back. He's a great kid. He's really playing better. But they're going to put their numbers up in their junior, senior year is where they have to they have to do their own stuff, and then they have to help their little brothers, the freshmen. So it's going to be an interesting challenge for them.
Thanks, Matt. Lexi, what do you have for us?
Hi, Coach. You were saying before that you guys are a really close team. I'm wondering do you have any pregame rituals that you do before every game?
No, we shoot around at 1:30, and then not really. I don't really believe in luck and rituals. I'm not really into that. Having players that are prepared for the situations is a lot better than a lucky coin in your pocket. But we have Genoa sponsors us, so they like that food, and they kind of do that, and then we watch a little bit. I let them kind of do what they want on the game day. I believe in being ready at 7 p.m. to play. But that's a good question. Some teams have a totally scripted thing. I go year to year, and I ask Brett and Marquise, our captains, what they want to do, and I go with them.
Looking forward to starting the season. Now, hopefully a big crowd, and I'm sure all of you guys are going to show up, right? Otherwise, I'm going to let Coach know. Sure. All right, best of luck this season, Coach. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having, and thanks for coming. It's a great school. You guys are lucky. Great degree to have in life, the Siena degree.